Hello, everyone. We had a little bit of difficulties in the kingdom earlier. That wife, everything's under control. So, day before Easter, um, just led me down this path of heavy metal's evilness and then back to redemption. So, I want to show a picture. This is a picture of my old band. Zoom in. That's me, that cool looking dude right there. And what's interesting about this is this chapel that this picture is taken in front of, then I actually got married in that same chapel. So pretty sure my buddy Mark took that picture. I was, I think, 17 at the time, and then he suggested that chapel. So, but I had another framed picture of us on stage at a Battle of the Bands that I have no idea where that went. Somehow that got AWOL in a move. But this video, the way it kind of started, the idea I should say, with this of all holy weekends, was I was going through my cassettes and kind of pulling out stuff that I was going to keep and not keep, and this Motley Crue Shout at the Devil. Now, one of the things when I was in a band, we played at this CYO dance, Catholic Youth Organization dance, which I wasn't even a Catholic, but Rick, who was in the band at the time, I think he got it set up in that. And what song did we play to start? Shout at the Devil, which, let me tell you, did not go over well. And the priest shut off the volume, was like, that's it, no more. And my buddy Mark, who actually had taken that photo, actually plugged us back in. And we played a little more, and then that was it. And we probably only knew like 4 songs, so probably good, but not the best. But that Shout at the Devil was so controversial at the time. And it got me remembering just what it was like when heavy metal was starting, really getting its peak and being a kid, and how just not dangerous isn't the word, but just the backlash. And I just bought another copy of Number of the Beast the other day. I still have my original copy that I bought when it came out, but it's pretty beat. So this is brand new. And I had this in the car, and I stopped. It was on the front seat. And this lady had pulled up next to me. And if you could have seen her face when she looked in and saw that cover. And again, it just reminded me of just how controversial that was, Maiden. And actually, I don't know if I have it in here, when they played in Portland the first time, Bruce Dickinson actually got up on stage and gave a talk about how they're not devil worshippers and all that. And I remember going to see this, I think it was another priest that gave a talk to kids about, the dangers of rock music and metal and all that, and all kinds of crazy stuff that they talked about. And he definitely brought up Iron Maiden and Number of the Beast, and so just memories of that. And another album, Speak of the Devil, and then I bought the Talk of the Devil, the UK one, or it might be for all of Europe. When this came out, and I went to the store with my buddy Ed, who was in the band too, and bought this, and I remember bringing this home, and my dad was really big in his church. My parents weren't bad about metal and, the devil's music and that, but my dad was really religious, and he was a big part of his church. And I remember bringing this home, and he said, let me see that. And he's looking at it. And the same way I collect records, my parents had libraries, just books everywhere. And he's looking at that, and he's going to get these books and trying to translate all this old writing and stuff. And he thought this was fascinating, and, you know, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then I was looking through some of these old Maiden ones, and you just kind of have to, a lot of these, the Recordland, I still have the sticker from the store in Portland when I bought them, 12-inch. But you think a lot of kids bringing that home, you know, and just the shock in the day for some of this stuff. But all these ones I bought back in the day in Portland. And this one just blew my mind because this was the time of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan. And can you imagine in America back in the day if this had been an American character and had just killed Ronald Reagan? Of course, then Reagan got shot. But can you imagine an American, like if that was released in America? What, I mean, that would have been just all chaos. But I still remember my introduction to Maiden. Oh, this is the Portland one. When Bruce Dickinson, he had to give in the show, he had to tell everyone, you know, we're not devil worshippers, don't get into that. But this Killers album, then I remember my buddy Gary Winward brought that to school, and that was just such a pivotal moment whenever this was. I think this was 81. And I remember him bringing that in and just being like, what the? And you just know from a cover, like, that's the music that I like. I didn't know who Maiden was. Maiden, you know, hadn't really making it big. He had bought this probably as an import, probably like me, you know, saw the cover and was just like, wow. But I can remember that it was in the school cafeteria and him bringing that in, and just, you just know that's my music right there. And another album, memory from this Creatures of the Night. And a lot of these albums, just how dark they were. But this Creatures of the Night, I was probably, this was 82, I think. So I was 15. I had bought a nice Pioneer stereo, saved up, bought it piece by piece, and I got this album, again, Recordland in Portland, Maine. Not, this is the Japanese copy, not the same copy, but this Creatures of the Night album. And I put the speaker in my windows, in my bedroom, and I cranked that thing so it was blowing through the neighborhood. And my dad used to take the bus. He worked downtown. He would take the bus and walk home. And I can still remember he was walking home, and he told me he heard this cranking like a block or more away, and it was getting louder, and he was saying, please don't let that be my house. Please don't let that be my house. And then he got home, and it was his house, and I was up in the room, my bedroom. I mean, that was cranked. People were outside, and, you know, he was not too thrilled about that. So, couple new cassettes this week. Black Sabbath's first album, which we found at a kind of used store. So, that was a cool find. Headless Cross, which was one of the few Black Sabbath I did not have on any format at all. So I have the cassette. I don't have that on vinyl. I have most of the records on vinyl. And that's just another version that I've had. Paper labels. That one's from Europe of Sabbath. But I bought this one. It wasn't very expensive. And these are hard to find. But so those were new editions. So I'll show those. And then the guy Rich, who I bought a lot of the metal comps from, I bought a couple more records. And turns out he was in this band, Majesty and Ruin, doom metal. He sent me the CD. That's him on the back. Not the best picture. But this is good stuff. If you look this up, you can find that on YouTube. And so that was cool. Like I said, it's doom. This is good. And I actually found a cassette copy online that I just ordered too. So I figured I'd have that. There's probably not too many of those. This is some stuff that just came in today. And a couple more. There's a cassette copy from, I want to say like Poland, of that Speak of the Devil. And the whole dangerous thing with the, the devil and rock and roll. Kiss, Hotter Than Hell. So, and this would have been, had Kiss in the 70s when I was just a kid, not in high school or anything, young. So, and like I said, I was lucky. My parents were not. My mother liked rock. She grew up in rock. My dad was really religious, but they never gave me any hard time on this. But you just think what parents thought seeing that, back in the day, especially in America. In America, this is like Puritan, Bible Belt area. Europe's much more loose with the, Christianity and dark metal and all that stuff. In America, this stuff was a whole nother ballgame. So in that I was spinning earlier, jamming out to, I got from Rich, is this Dutch Steel. This record is like unsigned bands. There's some good stuff on this. 80s, just traditional metal. And one of the things I really like about these is just, a lot of times, just how young some of these guys are. Some more just kids. So to be on a record, it's a cool cover. So that was in there. And then this heavy metal. This is like from another European one. This is from 1980. It's got Motorhead, Angel Witch, Girls' School. So this is cool. And Shooting Stars on here too. I don't know if that's the same like Shooting Star, that like kind of hard rock, radio rock. It must be. But that was a good find. And then this New York Metal. Now, Discogs said that I already had this, and then I couldn't find it anywhere, so I ended up buying another copy. And I still have no idea. But this is a good album. It's got Overkill, which I think Overkill with a previous lead singer on it. And Virgin Steel, Warhead. This is a good album. But ask yourself this. The dude's in a diaper, okay? With this kind of metal chick with a whip. I don't know. They come to you back in the day and say, I don't know who this dude is. I don't know if he's in a local band. I don't know. But, hey, you're going to be on an album forever in a diaper with a chick with a whip. Okay? Ask yourself that question. I don't know if I'm going there. Okay? I would love to hear from this dude right now. And think, even, were you wasted? Did she whisper in your ear and promise you stuff? Because, I don't know, dude. But, anyway. So that's that. Magazine I just bought today. Fistful of Metal. Black Sabbath. I think this is the second edition UK magazine. So I've just been looking through this today. Got my COVID shot today, shot 1. So there's going to be side effects. I told my wife, music might get louder. I don't know what kind of weird stuff's going to happen. Maybe government put secret stuff in me, but I've joined the club. But we stopped at the bookstore after, and I bought this Sabbath. But I was scanning through this, and it has ads for, I didn't realize this was out, Saxon's cover album they just put out. I was just listening to this on Spotify. This kicks ass. They do a cover of Deep Purple. What song is it? Now I can't remember. And The Rocker by Thin Lizzy, which is probably, I don't know if it's my favorite Thin Lizzy song, but it is right up there. What's the Inspirations is the album. It's Paint It Black. They do a Stones, Paperback Writer by the Beatles, Immigrant Song, Evil Woman, Stone Free, Bomber, that Motorhead, that's cool. Oh, Speed King from Deep Purple, which is one of my favorite Purple songs. And that kicks ass. Oh, and the other one that's funny is Hold the Line they do, which is, I think that's Toto. And I always liked that song. It's a cool song. And I remember picking up my guitar a couple years ago when I was kind of fooling around and that. Da-na-na. And then I'm like, who is that? Who is that? And then my wife's like, that's Toto. I'm like, Toto sucks! Who's that? But that's a good song. And then they do Problem Child. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting that Saxon album. So that magazine, said, just picked that up today. So, and here's one. Sealed to Reveal. This is, I think it's Neat Records, still sealed. Strange Maine is a store in Maine. I bought this online. The guy is an online thing, which isn't even Strange Maine. I never even knew it was the same thing. The guy's like the Ancient Mainer. So he must be the owner. But this is a new wave of British heavy metal, still sealed, Neat Records, from 1982. So I have no idea the condition of this. Every once in a while, you find these sealed records, and they're warped. I don't know if you see it. And these weren't Avenger, Alien, Black Rose, Hellenbach, Neat Records. So first time opening this since 1982. What's that, like 40 years, 35 years? Neat Records. So that's going to get spun today. That was a recent find. One I was cranking is this Warrior, which is a killer album. That is a good album. This band is a prime example of kind of a traditional metal. This was probably like 83. Some Judas Priest influences, but in that style. And then metal was kind of changing. It was, like hair metal was hitting the airwaves, and then thrash started. And they got just kind of too late. It's too bad because they were a good band. I think that's their only album too. One, Caught in the Act by Satan. This is not an original. It's on this Purple album. But this album, and I was going to play some clips from this, but YouTube copyright stuff. I'm surprised this never took off. I think the name probably hurt them, because this has a lot of almost Metallica sounding riffs and stuff, especially on side one. That early thrash kind of sound, but not, but more in that riffing style that, you know, before Metallica. I wonder if Metallica listened to these guys, but they should have been more influential. I mean, can't speak, but I think their name probably hurt them. But that's a good album. This Motorhead, Lemmy doing stuff, which I haven't played yet. What else is in here? But this album, oh, and other people have shown this album, Sinful. But I don't know if I mentioned this before. This guy, Dana Albert, the lead singer, is from Portland, Maine. And I would love to, but when you see him, he looks way older than the rest of them. I don't know if he was. I mean, he looks, maybe it's just a bad picture, but I mean, he looks like he's 40 and they're like 20. So I don't know. But I would love to track him down and talk to him, you know, hear some stories from him. I did a quick search. I mean, and who knows, this was 40 years ago. I don't even know if the guy's still alive, but I would love to track him down, because no one growing up in Portland in the 80s in the metal scene, everyone I asked was like, I don't remember this band. I mean, this was like an EP. It might have been released in Europe, but it just seems like that would have been a story. Portland guy goes, and I don't know anyone who remembers it. So if you're out there, I'd love to talk to you. Now this, Crucifixion, John from at Bit Baboon had told me to check this out, and I'm glad I did. This is the best album that I have bought in at least a year, if not more. It is Hell's Headbangers. This came out a couple of years ago. It just, everything on this rocks. Comes with a couple posters. Really cool. And then this booklet it came with was in the album too. Some really cool stories on the band and info. That is the Metal Comp album that I played in the last video and had Crucifixion, so that was my introduction to them. But yeah, this 60 minutes plus comp, this is one I'd love to have. There's a guy in Maine that has the new old stock cassettes still sealed, and he has that cassette, but he wants $50 for it. And I mean, it's collectible, but I'm just not giving him $50. So, but I'd like to have that. So this band, and the thing with this band, I don't even know how to explain. The riffing is like, I think what I like about it so much is it's like, almost like rock and roll riffing. If I'm not even explaining that right. It's more, is there a pick in there? Just that kind of bouncy, like I said, and I don't even know if I'm explaining that right, but that just kind of upbeat, basic rock and roll riffing, that just energy that I just love. So that's just kick-ass. Can't say enough good things about that. That album, no exaggeration, that is the best album that I have bought, and I cannot even remember what. And I'm going to end this here with, this just came in the mail today, so I don't know what this stuff is, but I'm going to open this, one of these, what do you call them, sealed to revealed. So let's see, where is this even from? Wow, that got dirty. I knew it was a cassette. So let's see what this is. Ah, Motorhead. Motorhead, March or Die. So that's that. Let's see what this one is. This must be cassettes too. Pretty much, it's going to be a disclaimer. I talked my wife into that we're going to buy a new Jeep. I've had Jeeps for 20 years, so there's going to have to be discipline on records because we're going to buy a Jeep or the Bronco if it ever comes out. So I got to make some sacrifices. I can't just tell her to make sacrifices with money. So I'm going to have to cut back. So I've been buying cassettes because they're cheaper. And they're smaller. Iron Maiden, made in Japan. Gonna go off on a tangent, tell another little story. Hopefully this isn't dragging on, but all my stories are interesting. No. So, a few years ago, I just had so many cassettes that I just had to weed them down. I sold all my Iron Maiden cassettes. I sold all my Black Sabbath cassettes. A big metal thing that I had, like 80s metal, that I had records. I had Riot and stuff in there. I did not have any idea of how collectible cassettes were going to be. This Maiden stuff is going, I mean, this one wasn't, but I gave that stuff away for really dirt. And people are charging big money now for Sabbath and Maiden. Look up how much those Riot cassettes go for now. And I didn't realize how limited editions, especially Narita and the other one there. So that was a dumbass thing to do. So when you're going to purge stuff like records and tapes, don't do it. Don't do it. Because I've probably purged at least 1,000 records and probably 400 or more cassettes, and you just want them back. So my message for the youth everywhere is don't get rid of your stuff. King Diamond, Annihilator, Alice in Hell, and one more. What is this? Ah, white boxes. Let's see what this is. They're well packaged. Oh, Iron Maiden. Oh, this is some Iron Maiden stuff. I think this guy makes these. So that was made in Japan. Iron Maiden made in America. And Made in Japan Volume 2. I'm pretty sure these are like, the guy probably dubs them from a CD or something. But he makes the own J cards and he prints the labels and stuff. So they're just cool collectible pieces. Alright, so it's just going to be time to crank some tunes and everyone have a nice Easter.
Hey, Edward. You know, you've been nice and quiet, so look.
Oh, club sandwich, my favorite! No chips?
Edward!
Cut!